Okay, so the next activity that you're going to be doing, I'm going to share my screen, is a poetry writing activity. So what I have for you, it's under activities, and it's 1022 poetry writing. Jasmine doesn't need two of them. Okay, so what you're going to do, and the directions are here, you're going to choose 6 different types of poems from the options below. There are 13 options. So out of those 13, you're going to choose 6. And you're going to write whatever poems that you choose next to the direction page of that poem. Make sure you read the directions for each poem type and then you understand how to write the poem before you try writing it. So don't just be like, oh, acrostic poem, I know how to do that, and write it. Read the directions. I'll briefly go through some of these. I might not go through all of them because there are 13, but the first one is acrostic, which you'll probably be familiar with. But what you do is you choose a word. Oh, also, don't copy the examples. Okay. Be creative, do your own thing. But as you can see here, you choose a word and you put it vertically up and down. And for each letter, you're going to write either a short phrase or a word that goes with that word. So the example they did was surfing. So for S, they did surfing the waves. U is undertow is dangerous, so be careful. R, ride the waves with style. F, fun with friends. I never want to stop. N, need to take a lesson or two. G, get out there and surf. So that's the example. That's how you do an acrostic. You can also do your name. So they did their first and their last name here. And they just did things about themselves. So Johnny Smith jumps high over the high jump bar. So he does track and field. Highest on the team, never a bad attitude, nice to everyone. Yes, he's a great kid. Soccer player extraordinaire, many animal pets at home. Intelligent, especially at math. 10 years old on May 12th. He likes to write acrostic poems. So you can do your name, but like don't copy the things they've written. But you can definitely do your name for acrostic. So that's the acrostic poem. Also, if you notice, this one doesn't rhyme, and that's okay. All right, the next one is alphabet alliteration. So for this one, remember that an alliteration, each word starts with the same letter sound. So sometimes it says here that they don't really make sense, and that's okay. They're just silly. You need at least 3 words for each alphabet letter. And the way that it goes is the first word is an adjective, which is a describing word. It describes a noun. The second word is a noun, and the third word is a verb. So for each line, you start with A. You need an adjective, a noun, and then a verb in that order. And you can make them longer than 3 words, but they at least have to follow that. Because you could do like 2 adjectives and then a noun and then a verb. And then they do it for all 26 letters of the alphabet. What I would say is do at least 10 letters of the alphabet. And you don't have to do the first 10 letters, but they need to be consecutive. So you can't do like A, E, Z, F, Q, R. It has to be, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, or J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. I don't know if that's 10, but you get the point. Down here, they give you an example. Down here, they give you an example of how you can make it even longer. And if you're doing it that long, I would maybe do like 5 or 6 lines. Okay. So the next one is a cinquain poem, and that means 5 in French. So it's a 5-line poem that has a very strict form. So make sure you stick to that form. Line 1 is 1 word, and it's the subject of the poem. And it has to be a noun. Line 2 are 2 words that describe the title. They're adjectives. Line 3 are 3 words that express action, so they're verbs that tell what the noun in line 1 does. Line 4 are 4 words that express a feeling, and it can be a short phrase or a series of words. And then line 5 is 1 word that is a synonym for the subject. And if you're going to write these, I'd write at least 2 of them since they're so short. Okay, the next one is a color poem. This is an 11-line poem, and it uses similes and metaphors and senses to explore the color. So you're going to choose 1 color, and you're going to give me 4 lines of what it is. Then you're going to go through your senses, and then 1 more line of what it is. So the example they use is blue. Oh, sorry. You can use the color blue, but don't copy what they've written. So there's the example. That again is a color poem. The next one is a concrete or shape poem, and this is where you write a poem that represents an object, and it is in the shape of that object. Make sure if you want to do this, you get creative with your artwork. So this one is about a triangle, and it's in the shape of a triangle. This one is about a book or books reading. And this one is cool because it's about an eye. And look, it looks like an eye. You have this here is the eyeball. Here's the middle of the eye. And these are eyelashes. And an eyebrow. So that's pretty cool. The next one is a creature alliteration poem. So you're going to use alliteration to describe a creature. It should be like funny and sort of maybe fantasy, kind of lighthearted. The main words in each line need to all begin with the letter you choose to alliterate. Each line of the poem, except for the first line, should have at least 4 words alliterating the letter you choose. Only 4 words, but at least 4 words that start with the letter you've chosen. And then the key with this is to not repeat any of your alliterating words you have already used. And they suggest using a dictionary for this. So the directions are right here. Sorry, Jasmine, I'm writing in yours. Line 1, you would name your creature and add IAN to the end of your word. So this is something you come up with. And whatever letter your creature starts out with, that's the letter that you alliterate with. And then you just read those directions for each line. And those are 2 examples. So the first one is a recitarian. So the letter that they are alliterating with is an R for each line. And then this is a principalian, and the letter they alliterate with is P. Okay, a fingerprint poem. If you have a magnifying glass, if you can't really do this, but you're going to use a magnifying glass to look at your fingerprint, and then you're going to write a list of 6 to 10 things that it reminds you of. Your poem is going to use those comparison tools, similes or metaphors. So you're going to begin by describing your fingerprint, and then each line following that first line should use words like or as to describe your fingerprint. And at the end, you need to give a clue to the reader that they were reading about your fingerprint. So this one at the end, it says, nope, it's just my fingerprint. So you could use that as well, but that's what they're doing for that. This next one is a 5 senses poem. You're going to use your senses to study or investigate a different subject. And this one focuses on using similes. So line 1 is going to tell what color an emotion or idea looks like to you. Then tell what the emotion or idea tastes like. Imagine it has a taste, because I know emotions and ideas don't have tastes. Then what it sounds like, smells like, looks like, and how it makes you feel. So in this example, the idea or that they're using is summer. So they say it's yellow. It tastes like freshly squeezed lemonade. It sounds like kids splashing in a lake. It smells like the most fragrant rose in my mom's garden. It looks like boating on your favorite lake. It makes me feel overjoyed. So that is a senses poem. The next one is a free verse poem, and there's no rules. Hence it says free verse. So they can have rhythm and rhyme, but they don't need to. So this literally is like a free for all with poetry. If you like to be really creative and you don't want to have to follow any specific rule or pattern, this is the poem you want to write. There's no structure, no rules about how it has to rhyme. You get to do whatever you want, essentially. Make sure you do use figurative language, though, to make it really jump off the page. And make sure you do at least, this has 1, 2, 3. I'd say do at least 10 lines. Okay, then a haiku. Haikus are strict and have rules. So it's a very short poem. If you're going to choose haiku, I'd say write 3 haikus. So they're strict in that there's only 3 lines, and each line has to have a certain number of syllables. So it's a 5-7-5. So line 1 will have 5 syllables, line 2 will have 7 syllables, and line 3 will have 5 syllables again. Here's some examples. Remember that syllables are the beats of the word. Waking up to chirps. Waking up to chirps, that's 5. Birds singing in the morning is 7. Beautiful bird songs, 5 again. So you have to be really concise, and this one's really strict. So if you don't like to be boxed in like that and feel limited, then you don't need to write this one. But yeah, I would say write 3 of them. Okay, so then an I am poem. It's kind of like the autobiography poems we wrote. There are 3 stanzas, and it's just to help someone else get to know you. It's a very strict format. So these stanzas that it has, you have to have 3 stanzas, and each one, it's very detailed with the directions. But I am, I wonder, I hear, I see, I want, I am. That's stanza 1. And then it has stanza 2 and 3. So you need to write all 3 of those stanzas, and there's directions for each one that you do. So that is an I am poem. A limerick poem is another funny poem. It has 1 stanza with 5 lines. They're specific about the rhyme pattern. So lines 1, 2, and 5 will rhyme and have 8 syllables each. And then lines 3 and 4 rhyme and have 5 syllables each. So the rhyme scheme will end up being A, B, B, A. So make sure you follow that syllable pattern that's there. Make sure you're reading these directions, don't ignore them. So that's here. Have 8 syllables each. Lines 3 and 4 have 5, and they rhyme. Okay, there's some examples. And I think this is the last option. It's the who, what, when, where, why poem. It's only 5 lines, so I'd say write 2. The poem should tell a story or give a strong picture of someone or something. And each line should answer one of the W questions in that order that's in the title. So they say that when you read it, it should sound like 2 sentences put together. So here's the example of, I'll read drumming. Who, the kids in the group, what, drum to the beat, when, last night, where, in the basement, why, their band was rehearsing for a performance. So if I just read it without the who, what, when, where, why, it would say, the kids in the group drummed to the beat last night in the basement, their band was rehearsing for a performance. So that is 2 sentences. So that's the last one. Remember, you are picking 6. If you have time before lunch, you're then going to move on and do some social studies, and you can check that out in the next video. If it's 11:45 and you're not finished, then that's okay. Just don't do social studies. And then check out the next video to see what you need to do.